Well, happy spring break to you. I hope maybe you're somewhere warm and won't be listening to this video until you return. But at any rate, I wanted to first of all tell you how impressed I am with your in-depth considerations and thought about our articles this week. Your words were very inspiring to me, so thank you very much for that. I enjoyed kind of reading your thought process on the drawing before writing. This was something that I too really had a little bit of a struggle with, and then I came to the understanding that, of course, drawing before writing is such a powerful tool. And even for our older students, I even encourage our high school teachers to do this in our graduate read program. And they tell me that since they've been doing it, the writing of students is more in-depth and nuanced. Any students. So this pertains not just to our English learners. So one book that I did want to show you is something I'm using now, Talking, Drawing, Writing. And I think the title says it all, don't you? But in here, there are several ideas for lessons that begin with drawing. And so if you have a chance to order professional books for your school, this might be something you will consider. I also really enjoyed reading about Maslow and how some of you picked up the work of Maslow. This is so important as well. When I was doing my Ph.D. research, Maslow was not considered particularly research-based, but in the years since then, we've come to understand, accept, and embrace just how important the work of Maslow is. That people must feel safe. They must have basic needs met before they can learn. And for many of our students, and again, not just our English learners, this is something we need to consider very carefully. Now, of course, many of our English learners have come from parts of the world where safety is a concern. And we need to understand this and do all we can to make sure that our classrooms are havens of safety for them. But you know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So thank you for pointing that out to some of you in your responses. I did want to talk a little bit about writing, if I can go back to that, because in your assessment paper, there is going to be the 6+1 traits of writing rubric. And I just want to remind you that I know we all find it so easy to evaluate writing based on mechanics and spelling, because that's one of those things we can point to it and say, oh, it's either right or it's wrong. But those other traits of writing are important too, and especially for our English learners, we're going to want to evaluate writing based on those other traits. So please take a careful look at that. I also wanted to say I picked up in your responses that at your school you have obviously a lot of Spanish speakers. I knew that from visiting your school, but you talked about some of the Southeast Asian languages, and I think I'm reading a book called Learner English, and I would like to copy some specific chapters in that book for one of our future class sessions and discussion boards. This is why I don't put up all the discussion boards at one time, because you say things that spark ideas in me that we may need to cover for your specific needs. So if you have languages other than Spanish and some of the Southeast Asian languages, could you just send me an email and let me know so I can get the correct pages posted for our discussion? So I look forward to reading your wordless picture book projects when you return from spring break, and you should be starting on that assessment project. Thanks a lot.